Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace Harinamananda Prabhu. And all glories to assembled Vaishnavi devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here today. It's Monday, first day of the busy week, and happens to be the last week of January, the first month of 2025. Well, Harinamananda Prabhu needs no introduction. He's been with us for so long. And we're very grateful we can have his association once again. He is one of the few modern day replicas of Narada Muni. He is always on the move, which is very interesting and very nice. So Prabhuji, we're very grateful we could have your association once again. And without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Vidura's Talks with Maitreya, Text 45. Tanvahi asat vitivi rakshibhiye prayahi tanta manasa priyesha ato na pasyanti urgayanunam ite padanyasya vilasa laksheya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O great Supreme Lord, offensive persons whose internal vision has been too affected by external materialistic activities cannot see your lotus feet, but they are seen by your pure devotees, whose one and only aim is to transcendentally enjoy your activities. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 1861, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. It is natural that one should be able to see the Lord, at least within himself. But that is not possible for those whose internal vision has been covered by external activity. The pure soul, which is symptomized by consciousness, can be easily perceived even by a common man because consciousness is spread all over the body. The yoga system is recommended in Bhagavad Gita is to concentrate the mental activities internally and thus see the lotus feet of the Lord within oneself. There are many so-called yogis who have no concern with the Lord, but are only concerned with consciousness, which they accept as the final realization. Such realization of consciousness is taught by Bhagavad Gita within only a few minutes, whereas the so-called yogis take continuous years to realize it because of their offenses at the lotus feet of the Lord. The greatest offense is to deny the existence of the Lord as separate from the individual souls, or to accept the Lord and the individual soul as one and the same. Impersonalists misinterpret the theory of reflection, and thus they wrongly accept the individual consciousness as the supreme consciousness. The theory of the reflection of the Supreme can be clearly understood without difficulty by any sincere common man. When there is a reflection of the sky on the water, both the sky and the stars are seen within the water. But it is understood that the sky and the stars are not to be accepted on the same level. The stars are parts of the sky, and therefore they cannot be equal to the whole. The sky is the whole and the stars are the parts. They cannot be one and the same. Transcendentalists who do not accept the supreme consciousness as separate from the individual consciousness are as offensive as the materialists who deny even the existence of the Lord. Such offenders cannot actually see the lotus feet of the Lord within themselves, nor are they even able to see the devotees of the Lord. The devotees of the Lord are so kind that they roam to all places to enlighten people in God consciousness. The offenders, however, lose the chance to receive the Lord's devotees, although the offenseless common man is at once influenced by the devotees present. In this connection, there is an interesting story of a hunter and Devarishi Narada. A hunter in the forest, although a great sinner, was not an intentional offender. He was at once influenced by the presence of Narada, and he agreed to take the path of devotion, leaving aside his hurt and home. But the offenders Nala Kuera and Manigriva, even though living amongst the demigods, had to undergo the punishment of becoming trees in their next lives. Although by the grace of a devotee, they were later delivered by the Lord. Offenders have to wait until they receive the mercy of devotees, and then they can become eligible to see the lotus feet of the Lord within themselves. But due to their offenses and their extreme materialism, they cannot see even the devotees of the Lord. Engaged in external activities that kill the internal vision. The Lord's devotees, however, do not mind the offense of the foolish in their many gross and subtle bodily endeavors. The Lord's devotees continue to bestow the blessings of devotion upon all such offenders without hesitation. That is the nature of devotees. Omagyantimadandasya Gyananashalakya Chakshulitanyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapatanyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gramayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pamebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Kata Yata Yata Yasmin Duskaram Sukaram Vadet Visrite Vipyatam Shri Chaitanya Namanamikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yoginam api savisham Gitena Atmana Shadavam Bhajate Yamam Sama Yutatamo Mataha. The greatest yogis is the Bhakti yogi, who always thinks of the Lord within themselves and abide by the order, and they're intimately connected with Krishna. They are considered the best by Krishna. That's his opinion. So this is expressed here that the devotees are better than any yogi or impersonalist, jnani, any karmi, because they can see the Lord within themselves. The lotus feet is always their goal. And despite offensive persons return to the Lord, they're just very merciful, more merciful than the Lord himself, to deliver such fallen souls, to reawaken their Krishna consciousness. And the Lord is also very merciful, even though the conditioned soul wants to forget Krishna due to envy. The conditioned soul, due to misuse of their independence, the little independence that's given to them, whether to serve Krishna or to serve illusion. To serve Krishna means I am the servant, I am a spirit soul, and my aim is to please Krishna. He is the enjoyer. But to serve illusion means that I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, and the purpose is that everyone should serve me. This type of humility does not satisfy the Lord, neither one's heart. So, if the Lord is in your heart, it should be very easy to see him, right? Because we feel like I need to satisfy my heart. But when it's covered by false ego, the thick layer of false ego, that I think I am the center, then Krishna, he creates forgetfulness in the living entity. Mata Smritin Jnana Purnamcha. He says, me, situated in the heart, come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So why would Krishna do that for us? It's actually his kindness. because he he doesn't want robots. He needs like genuine love. Okay, just excuse me 1 minute. I just need to get a tissue. Sorry about that. Yes, so Krishna is very kind. He's Nitya Nityananam Chaitanas Chaitananam. He's that eternal living being that's maintaining and fulfilling the desires of all other eternals. He's fulfilling the desires of everyone. So he can't force us to love him, to surrender to him, even though it's our main interest. So Krishna goes, okay, here's a playground called the material world. You can try and live a life without me in so many varieties. 8.4 million species, unlimited universes, so many planets. Actually, it's very kind of him, even though it's bad for us. It's just like a loving father. Sometimes you want to control your kids because you know what's best for them, but they may go astray, and you can't do anything but let them go and so-called get burnt by the world. Learn the hard way. Go to the school of hard knocks. And Prabhupada gives example of his own child because Prabhupada, when he was a family man, he had a child, a son, and the son always wanted to touch the fan. And he kept trying to put his finger in the fan and he kept stopping. But he was like, so no, I want to touch it. So I think it was a relative says, that's okay. What you do, you pull the plug out of the power and then let him touch it while it's still running at a slow speed. And then the kid went to touch it. He goes, you can touch now. So he went to touch it, bang, he hit his finger. He's like, oh. And then Prabhupada asked his son, yeah, go and touch again. And he didn't want to. So the material world is made to rectify this perverted consciousness of false ego that I am the enjoyer and everything is for me. Because that doesn't exist, a place without Krishna, a place where Krishna is not the center. Even in the material world, Krishna is the center. But in the prison house, many prisoners may not accept that. So they need to go through some suffering. So that is his mercy. So some people, they may ask, why doesn't Krishna just make the material world without suffering? Asasatam, Dukkalayam Asasatam, Krishna says, this material world is temporary and full of misery. Why not just make it without misery? Because Krishna is a little impatient. Krishna puts some sand in the sweet rice. I don't know if you experienced that before. You had some very nice sweet rice, and then you crunch, and then oh my god, what the hell is that? It ruins the whole experience. So Krishna, he doesn't want us to be in the material world forever because he knows that's not where our real happiness is. So he creates some suffering that are there. Either the threefold miseries from living entities, from natural disasters, from our mind and body, from birth, death, old age, and disease. This is just to make sure we're still on the right track of the purpose of life, to finally take the lotus feet of the Lord within our hearts. And there are many processes Krishna gives in the Vedas through karma, from karma kanda to karma yoga to jnana yoga to Astanga yoga and then obviously bhakti yoga. And why so many processes? We have bhakti yoga is very easy. It's described like an elevator instead of taking the stairs. Why not take the elevator? So some people are stubborn. Yes, I can do things by my own power, by my own, the sweat of my brow, I will get spiritual realization. So there's a still sense of attachment to like being the doer of activities. being recognized. So even though it's in the spiritual realm. So we have yogis, they practice such great mystic yoga. We have this Kumbh Mela has taken place, and so many yogis are there. You can see them. Um, they're lying on the bed of nails. Some are just like they have this thing where they've held their arm up for like, 50 years, and you see all their nails are growing out. Some have like all this rudraksha, like a towel of rudraksha on their head, throwing ashes everywhere, having garlands of skulls, walking around naked, and some of them are like hundreds of years old. They have amazing mystic power. Can look into the eyes and it's piercing glances because it's all about austerity, restriction, tapasya. But they can get distracted by in so many ways. The first way is that they can get distracted by gaining mystic power, and there's eight mystic powers one can attain. You can be lighter than the lightest, greater than the greatest. Um, you can be smaller than the smallest, heavier than the heaviest, like this. So there's a eightfold, and ultimately one can have the mystic power of just taking what they want. Prabhupada talks about meeting some yogi or hearing from of some yogi where a disciple asked, "Oh, his spiritual master that," and he was a great yogi. Like, okay, I can get you whatever you want. What would you like? He says, I want some fresh pomegranates from Afghanistan. And then he just reached his hand out, and then there's a whole branch of fresh pomegranate just appearing. So amazing. And you can get distracted like that, and people be wowed by that. People just create ashes from their hand, or they create gold from their mouth, like this. And simpletons, especially village people, accept them as God, and they'll start thinking, "Oh yes, maybe I am God." Or by the second way of being bewildered is that they try and realize the super soul. That's the goal of the Astanga yogi. But by having vision of the super soul, they misinterpret it as the individual soul, that I am maybe the super soul, this is me. So we can see how Maya is very powerful. No one can overcome Maya. Devi Ishiguna Maya Maya Duratya. Omeviye Pravanti Maya Tantarantite. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature, very difficult to overcome. But when one surrenders unto me, it's very easy. So that is the process of bhakti yoga, to surrender to Krishna. Savadama praditya mamakam sharanam vaja aham tam savapapibhyo mokshami suchaha. That Krishna says that the purpose of everything I said is to abandon all types of processes and religion that I said before, the karma, the jnana, the yoga. Just surrender to me, perform bhakti yoga. And all your actions of yours, whatever you've done before, do not worry. You don't need to try and counteract it. See, the karmi is trying to counteract individually, find out what sin is there and counteract it. The jnani is just trying to detach from this world, which is very difficult and troublesome. Krishna says in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, for those who are attached to the impersonal Brahman, it's very troublesome, this path. I mean, you can't even have prasadam because you think the Lord's impersonal, so he has no senses. So you can't give him bhoga and you can't have prasadam. So you just have to be simple and, eat boiled food or something very bland and boring. So my spiritual master talks about getting into Buddhism. So he mentioned in his country there was like one Buddhist castle, and you could stay over, and there was like a moat around there, and there's a bridge that went down, and during the day, and then at night it'll come up. So he decided to stay there, and they had like a morning program that had different mantras and meditation, and they had their mantras where you go, ooh, wah, 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 woo, woo, wah, wah, wah. I don't know, he was making those noises. Buddhist mantras. And there was like meditation session of silence and so many things like this, a study of the scripture, lecture, kind of like a morning program in a Hare Krishna temple. And then it came to breakfast. And the breakfast was some piece of toast, small piece of toast with miso paste. And he think miso is short for miserable. He's like, no, like spiritual life can't be like this, it's so, just negating of just being suffering. This is spiritual life. No. So he was like, once that bridge went back down the morning, he ran across it. And they asked him, "Oh, are you leaving?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm definitely leaving. No more measles for me." So yeah, spiritual life is about enlivening the heart with love and joy. Um, Chitta syo pasmonyo ve kalabi savi chakshusha. Tasita su gamo yugo tamastama mudava. That the learned authorities and great acharyas have proven that the easiest way to control or subdue the disturbed materialistic mind and attain liberation is to see through the eye of scripture. And to study scripture is a sacred duty that brings joy to the heart. Very nice verse. So the Shastra is all pointing towards bhakti. The Bhagavad Gita is pointing towards bhakti. Um, the Bhagavatam is pointing towards bhakti. Savai pumso parodamo ito bhakti yadokshaja haitatiya pratita yadatma supasiditi. That the supreme dharma for the human being is that bhakti yoga, that service to the transcendent Lord, adokshaja. And that service is done without any motivation and without any interruption. And then reciprocity that you can fully, completely satisfy the Atma. So that's what we want. Whereas every other process, there's always some fault. Any work, any karma, wherever there's fire, there is smoke. And with jnana, uh, just because you're just restricting and negating, um, and most likely attached to something impersonal, then you got no one to love. People say that God is love. It's all energy, it's all one, and it's love. No, it's not love if it's all one. Love means there's a lover and a beloved, and the exchange is called love. But if you say, oh, it's all one, that's what God is love. No. Where's the exchange? If you and God are the same, if you and your husband are the same person, how can you exchange love? There needs to be individuality. And Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter that neither you nor I nor all these kings uh, will cease to exist. They've existed before, they exist now, and they'll continue to exist in the future. So everyone has their individuality. There's no merging into anything. Even in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, when Gopakumar goes through the different levels of the heavenly planets, and then he's going within each layer surrounding each universe. So we have the five gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Um, uh, and then you have the three subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and false ego. So each layer around the universe, there's like a layer, and then that layer is 10 times more, and then 10 times more. So the actual universe is like this atomic nucleus inside this bigger sort of covering. So we're kind of buried under these 24 elements of material nature, the living entity. So Gopakumar, he's going through these different layers, and there's a deity, and there's a predominating deity. Say, like in earth, it's Bhumi, in water, it's Varuna, in fire, it's Agni, and they all have their deities that they worship. So in the realm of false ego, the predominant deity is Maya herself, and her worshipful lord is Mohini Murti. So it's quite interesting. They sort of correspond to the element. And so he breaks these layers, and then he's in this like completely like in the impersonal romance, all bright, and he feels very blissful um, because there's no suffering there. He's very blissful, and then he sees there is a form of the Lord. I think it's called Mahakala, and there are individual souls, but they're just not active. But they think they're merged. They still have their individualities revealed in Bhagavatamrita. So that's very interesting that even when they try to merge, still they have their individuality. And usually this impersonal Brahman, it doesn't last for long. They have to fall back down because it's boring. There's no activity, there's no relationship, there's nothing going on. It's just boring. So if they don't have realization of the spiritual world and the spiritual variety there and the spiritual activities there, then they just choose the material world. Prabhupada talks about impersonalists. They detach, they merge, but then they come back to the material world to open hospitals and schools and do all this philanthropic work. What's the point of your impersonal realization? Where's the transcendence of being detached from the material world if you're engaging in the material world so much? So Prabhupada, you can see this purport, is quite longer. So every time there is a fight against impersonalism, he wants to pull it out right away. And why would he want to do that? Why is there so much? I mean, like, you've heard most of my classes, and usually it's along the lines of like a Harinam story, and then this happened, and we're talking about the juice of spiritual life, prasadam, and deity worship, and how beautiful deities are. And so when we get into these technical things, usually we kind of get a bit sleepy. But Prabhupada was sent for this purpose. Namaste, Saraswati Devi. He's a servant of Saraswati Thakur. Gauravani Pacharine, he's giving the message of Lord Gauranga. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gati Anita. There's no other way, no other way, no other way but to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name, to be delivered in Kali. Sounds easy enough. Even the scriptures say it 3 times. But problem is, Nivasesha Sunyavad. We are contaminated by impersonalism and voidism. The Prabhupada has come Paschatadeshatarina to rid the world of impersonalism and voidism. So how does he do that? He's written these books. Prabhupada revealed to a disciple that yes, I was in the spiritual world, and Krishna said, I want you to go to the material world. Prabhupada told Krishna, I don't want to go. I don't like austerity. Krishna says, you just go, write books, and I'll do the rest. Particularly, he is the Senapati Bhakta of Lord Chaitanya to capture all these fallen conditioned souls. It's for Krishna consciousness to go from India to the whole world, from east to west. You know, it's such an amazing task, never been done before. And the impact he had just within 11 years, it's inconceivable. I don't know if you know anyone who's at the age of like 60 or 70. For them to do anything physically extraneous or to organize a worldwide murder, forget it. He opened 108 temples. How many temples have we opened? And can we even conceive of opening a temple? He wrote 60 volumes of books at the same time while managing a worldwide movement with letters, no internet even, and to and he wasn't going for like the EC crowd, you know, these are like hippies who were embracing breaking the four regulative principles. Free sex was going on. Intoxication, LSD was the god of the time. Um, Illicit sex, meat eating was going on. And what to speak of, gambling in the form of speculation. Everyone thought they were God. So this Mayavadi and impersonalism is deep rooted within the Western world. Um, so it has to be destroyed because you cannot chant the holy name with love and devotion. It's not possible. We can't accept Krishna as a person. Namachindamani Krishna. Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Punasudoni Chomito Vinatam Manama. Namino. That holy name is non different from Krishna. But we are like Mudas. Avichananti Mamuda. Manisantanamashita. We think Krishna is a normal human being. And that and we are the Lord. We're still stuck in this. So the Nivashesha Sunyadi Pachidadeshitarine is by the Bhagavatam. Vyaktakara Bhagavate Karabarabara Kali Yugadam Nam Sankirtana. So the Bhagavatam is revealing again and again that the essence of Dharma in Kali Yuga is Nam Sankirtan. This is the way we develop our relationship with Krishna. But if we feel that Krishna is impersonal, then we cannot relish chanting the holy name. So the Bhagavatam is constantly, in Prabhupada's purpose, are constantly trying to root that out. And even disciples in the early days were telling Prabhupada, why are you always so heavy against these Mayavadis impersonalists? In America, there's no Mayavadis impersonalists. They're all in India. And then Prabhupada told the disciples, you're a Mayavadi. So Prabhupada is very caring for us that we want to give us the access of chanting and serving Krishna without any reservation. And I was trying to understand this because my spiritual master gave me the service of the instruction. If you want to conquer lust, make Harinam big. So at that time, I was a new devotee. I was in the temple as a new devotee, living in the ashram. And I was thinking, what does this mean to make Harinam big? Does it mean big in my consciousness, big in Australia? What does it mean to go around the world? I don't have any money to travel. I gave it all to the temple. So maybe it's big in my consciousness. What does it mean? So I already liked Harinam, but then I applied myself much more. Excuse me. So I tried to put all my energy into doing Harinam Sankirtan. At that time, I was doing martial arts. I've been already practicing for like 14, 15 years. And I felt like that was the pure thing in my life. I had discipline, I had focus. And I was thinking, oh, maybe I have to give this up and put it all into Harinam Sankirtan. So that's what I did. So maybe my dance move may resemble some martial art moves, jumping in the air and doing sha sha. Uh, and yes, I was trying to organize many Harinams and many big public events so we could have more exposure. And then my main motivation, my main fire to do this service was Srimad Bhagavatam. I felt like every page was promoting the Yuga Dharma of Harinam Sankirtan. Just like verses like Kala Desha Nadira Janaste Ko Mahaguna Kirtana Deva Krishna Mukta Sangha Paramajay. That Kali Yuga is like an ocean of faults. We try to call faults in so many fields in this Kali Yuga society. The politicians like this, the pharmacy companies are like this, um, the schools are like this, uh, the the dairy farmers are like this. So there's faults everywhere. It's an ocean. To say everyone in the ocean is wet, yeah, of course. There's only one good quality. It's the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In that way, one can attain the supreme destination. So then the Sastra is saying so many times, Aho Bhata Swapachota Korya, Yashchiviketa Namatuvyo, Tapastate Shusha Arya Brahmanachu Namavirananti Yate. Devahuti is saying, oh, how glorious are those who just have your holy name on the tips of the tongue, even though born in the family of dog eaters. You may not know dog eaters, and you may know hot dog eaters. People are even eating their own mothers in the form of killing the cow. And say how glorious, they just have holy name on the tips of their tongue. This means they've gone to all holy places, studied all the scriptures, done all purificatory activities, have the done all the tapasya and bathe in all holy places and have the behavior of Aryans just by chanting the holy name, they're elevated right away. The power of the holy name. We see this in this example given with Magari the hunter. Magari the hunter, he was half killing animals. He loved to watch them suffer and die, and then Narada Muni is seeing all these half killed animals suffering. He's like, who's doing this? And he saw this hunter, yeah, he's killing. He doesn't know any better. And he says, what are you doing? At least kill them fully. Why are you doing half killing them? So it's quite interesting. He's just trying to give the next step. It's like just kill them fully then. And Magari is saying, "Oh well, this is what I know best. This is how I taught." Said, "No, you'll suffer so much." Really? Yes. So he's like, "What should I do?" And he goes, "I can teach you, but you must break your bow." He's like, "Break my bow? This is my maintenance. I've done everything with this bow, and now you're telling me to break it." Go, well, this is the only way I can teach you. So in the same way, we have many attachments, and the spiritual master wants to break our bow of attachments of trying to survive in this world, our plans in this world, which are doomed to failure, but we're so attached to them because we invested so much into them. My spiritual master speaks of a story of a man who's trying to climb up a hill, and it's so tiring, and he's just wishing, I wish I had a horse, then it'll be so much easier to go up this hill. So then, as he's walking, then this is God's arrangement. This man comes with a horse and he's selling the horse. And he sold it at a very good price. He got a good price and he gave it, okay, this is God's arrangement. I have to get this horse. And so he gets his horse, very happy. And then the horse doesn't move. Like, what's going on? He's trying to find where's the handbrake or pull on the ears or whatever. It's not moving. And then all of a sudden, this horse gives birth to a baby horse, to a to a foal. I was like, oh, I was pregnant. I didn't even know like this. But then he thought, wow, this is great. I got two horses for the price of one, like that. So then he jumps on the horse again. This baby horse just somehow struggles up. But then the horse is not moving again because it's just concerned for the baby. And he's like, oh, okay. So then what does he do? He carries the baby horse on his back and walks up the hill so the horse can follow. So he's walking up this hill carrying this baby horse and the big horse, the mama horse is following. And then some man sees him, he's like, hey, what are you doing, you idiot? Why are you carrying this baby horse on your back? He's like, wow, this horse, I bought this house for a lot of money and she's not gonna move unless you carry the baby horse with me. Wow, it's much easier for you to walk up the hill without without carrying this baby horse. But no, I invested so much into this of this horse and everything. I've already played my plan to have a horse and walk up. I can't give it up. So in the same way, we're invested in so many material plans, and then the spiritual must not just give it up. It's not working. Same way, Narada Muni told Magari the hunter, just break your bow, and I will tell you what to do. So then he breaks his bow, and then Narada Muni says, okay, so you sit in this cave in front of Tulasi and chant the holy name, and then I will maintain. I will maintain. So then he was like, what's going on? Okay, let me try it. So he chanted the holy name, and he became known as a great saint in the area. They were surprised. Makari the hunter, he's like half killing animals. Now has become a saint. So that the people in the area would bring so many alms, so much boga. It was more than he needed for him and his family. And then Narada Muni came with his friend, I think it was Angira Rishi, to go and say, oh, let's go see my disciple Magari. He's like, okay. And then Magari saw uh, Narada Muni from a distance. And usually you see your spiritual man, you pay obeisances. But it seemed like he was sort of like jumping around weird and then like moving the floor a little bit. And then he paid obeisances. And then Angari's like, what? You know, what? What is he doing? He saw you should pay obeisance. What's he jumping around so weirdly for? And then he comes through to, oh, Magari, oh, Guru Maharaj, so nice to see you, like this. And Narada Muni asked, like, why didn't you pay obeisances straight away? So, well, there was so many ants here, so I had to sweep them out of the way and then sort of jump out of the way, and then I could pay obeisances. And then Angirish said, oh, Narada, you are just like a touchstone. Look, he was half killing animals and enjoying them suffering. Now he can't even step on an ant. I tell you, Narada Muni, you are simply just a touchstone. So this is the power of following the instruction of the spiritual master. So many realization can come. You can be set free from so much unnecessary attachment. And maintenance, that's easy. Anischintayantamam yajana parapasate teshan vijayutana. Yogikshana gahamyaham. Krishna says that one who meditates on my transcendental form and worship me with exclusive devotion, for that person I preserve what they have and carry what they lack. This is Krishna's insurance policy. So nice verse, 922. Narada Muni says, so how are you going? You maintain nicely. He goes, Guru Maharaj, you've sent too much. You've given me more than I need. He saw that all these gifts that are given by the local people was actually gifts from his spiritual master. So this dedication of spiritual master is the greatest way to eliminate impersonalism. One can actually, our personal relationship with the Supreme Lord is actually through pleasing the spiritual master. Yasya prasada yak bhagavad prasada yasya prasada nagati patopi. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, one cannot get the mercy of Krishna. So we need the mercy of the pure devotees of the spiritual master, just like Nalakuvar and Manigriva. They were in the demigod realm, but still intoxicated by false ego, that they had to suffer the hellish life of trees. But in the same go, they became part of the Damodar Leela. So we need these pure devotees to roam the earth and to save all the conditioned souls, to save us, especially from the crocodile of so many Mayavadi and personalistic and voidistic philosophies. It says that in Kali Yuga is like an ocean of crocodiles. But by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a small child can cross such a river. So amazing, actually, such an ocean. So this mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is this Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. It says that Shri Gaurnitai have appeared in this world to deliver the whole world. It doesn't say by Harinam Sankirtan, but by the two Bhagavats, the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. So here we're going through the book Bhagavat, so we're being saved this way. And the book Bhagavat, Srila Prabhupada's purports to eliminate impersonalism and voidism, so we can chant the holy name with our full hearts, remembering the lotus feet of the Lord and take it within our hearts, and begging for service, begging to love Him again. This is the mood of a devotee, to somehow just be a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, who is the maintainer of the gopis. This is our desire. This is the most ambitious position in the universe. Nothing higher than this. Even God Himself, to enjoy more, wants to be a devotee. That's why He appeared as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that's the Bhagavatam. We see in the introduction of the Bhagavatam, it shows the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing, chanting, and feasting. This is Bhakti Yoga. This is Raja Vijay Rajaguyam Pavicham Idamuttamam Padakshavagam Amdamyam Susukam Kādāvyam. The king of education, the most secret of all secrets, the perfection of religion. The purest, because you have direct perception of your real self. and it's everlasting and joyfully performed. There's nothing better than this. And we can take part in that compassionate mood if we remember the gifts we have. Imagine a life with no japa. Maybe you could, some devotees don't like japa. But yeah, okay. Some people like one day not chant 16 rounds. This is crazy. Of course I'm gonna chant. Imagine a life without kirtan. Imagine a life without Prabhupada's book. Imagine a life without prasadam. Imagine a life without deity worship and temples. Imagine a life without devotee association. That's the life the non-devotees are living. Instantly, you can feel some compassion in your heart. So we can be part of the pure devotees mission. And by doing that, we, on the platform of purity, even though we don't have the qualification, we serve those who have that compassion. We serve them. And we do it by three ways: chanting the holy name in the streets, and dancing in ecstasy, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. And this book distribution is very powerful. It's very powerful, and we should do it, even though it's not our nature. So what you can do it in an easy way. You're all working, sponsor some books, and carry 3 small books with you. And I guarantee you'll run into someone who'll talk about being interested into spiritual life. Give it as a gift. We need these books to go out there creating a revolution in the consciousness of the impious lives of a misdirected civilization. They must go out. They're calling out all this materialistic society. So many people are pretty much committing suicide more and more, and at a younger age as well. It used to be the youngest age of teenagers. Now it's in the tweens, like 7, 8-year-olds, because of social media and cyberbullying. So it's getting worse. But the Sankirtan movement is like the jewel in Kali Yuga, and it looks good on a dark background of Kali Yuga. So but we have to be part of offering the jewel of love of God in the form of the Sankirtan movement. And of course, our secret weapon, it's not just the holy name, it's not just the books, but also prashadam. So if you're at work and there's some water cooler, sneak in some maha water in there. Bring some cookies or some mahaprasad to work. If you have children, make them cookies so they can distribute them at school. We're gonna try and infiltrate everything. The highest conspiracy is that Lord Chaitanya said that in every town and village, the holy name will be heard. This is the main conspiracy, not what I don't know if you want to call it Illuminati or whatever. It is those who are empowered by Kali. Yes, they are very powerful, but still they're not as powerful as the holy name. They're not as powerful as the Sankirtan movement. We are on the winning side. Padam Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtana. It's supremely super victorious. So I'll stop here. If there's any comments or questions, you can ask.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. His Grace, HARINAMANANDA Prabhu. Such a very beautiful delivery. You touched on lots of very, very important topics and themes, and we really appreciate the delivery. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations, you may want to share or ask, please indicate by using the hand emoji. You'll be asked to unmute. Anadi Nidanam Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Prabhu, narrating Narada Muni and the hunter, during the early beginnings of ISKCON here in Africa, I wasn't born then, but I heard that a lot of devotees gave up their material activities. And eventually, some left the movement just because they felt that the movement is no more treating them well. And in the case of the hunter, after the instruction from Narada Muni, he was materially successful as well as the spiritual aspect also. So what will you say? They have now carried the orders of the spiritual master very well, or that is how it's supposed to be. I don't know if my question is clear.
Sorry, it was cutting out in between your question.
You were breaking up at some point. If you may repeat
So
what you were saying.
Should I repeat myself? Yes.
Yes.
Am I audible enough?
Yes.
Okay. My question is talking about the hunter and Lord Narada Muni.
That's not what I've heard so far because you're cutting out. So what I got so far was that you understand that the hunter was following the instruction of Narada Muni, and then he became successful materially and spiritually.
Exactly.
And then in the early days, there was devotees staying in the temple, and many did leave Krishna consciousness because they felt like they weren't maintained, even though they surrendered so much to the movement. Is that what you're asking?
Exactly. Yes. So my question is it that they didn't follow the instruction of the spiritual master very well, or something else? Because as a result of that, many of them left the movement because they felt the movement is no more treating them well. Meanwhile, those are the people who gave up their material aspirations. I hope I'm clear now.
Yes, that was fine. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
So, yes. I remember hearing Bhaktivedanta Swami say that when someone leaves Krishna consciousness, it's 50% the fault of the individual, 50% the fault of those who are, I guess, taking care of that devotee. So I guess in the sphere of the individual, we do need to take responsibility for our spiritual life, and we do need to recognize that being in Kali Yuga, we are sinful. We messed up many times. We were there in Satya Yuga, but still we're too stubborn to come back. So then we joined this Krishna consciousness movement, and we still have a stock of karma to go through. And because we are always amongst devotees, the karma comes from them. So Krishna consciousness, we do advertise to get rid of all your problems, but it will not get rid of your material problems. You still have to go through problems, but they just become insignificant. So those who say survived the early days where we're still immature and didn't know how to deal with each other, maybe due to some uncultured nature or just due to our own karmic reaction. Those who survived, they always held on to Prabhupada's teaching. And a verse that always comes up is Tate Anukampa Shushmikshamano Bunjirapmakitam Vipaka Hivava Vivedanta Namaste Vedu Samukti Pade Sadaiva. Lord Brahma prays that, oh my Lord, your devotee patiently waits for your mercy. At the same time, he suffers the reactions of his past misdeeds. At that time, he offers his obeisance with his heart, body, and words. And in this way, the kingdom of God becomes his rightful claim. So he tolerates whatever happening and understands that if I somehow just serve, I don't take it out on Krishna. I somehow still serve. I can serve with my words. I can chant the holy name. With my heart, think of the Lord within myself. With my body, some physical service. Then the kingdom of God becomes my rightful claim. I just tolerate it. My spiritual master would describe ISKCON as like we're in transit. So ISKCON may not be perfect. Just like, you need to go to a destination, you wait in the train station. So the purpose is not to call out and make adjustments on the platform of the train station. Oh, look, it's dirty here, there's rubbish here, there's some crazy junk guy yelling here. No. The purpose is to make sure you get on the train to your destination. So those who survive, we're focusing on the process itself, and they're able to survive whatever ups and downs that happen institutionally. So that's for the individual who's practicing, and they're the ones that tend to survive, or whatever ups and downs that happen in the movement that made devotees leave. On an institutional level, we're still a young movement. Social development hasn't really taken place like as further as other spiritual institutions like Christianity, Islam, where you had whole opportunities where people could work, have money, health was taken care of, the elderly were taken care of. We haven't gone so far yet. Prabhupada, when he started the movement, it was like an emergency, just let's just boost this thing, put people who are not qualified in like leadership roles. Everyone was in the early 20s trying to manage a worldwide movement. So yes, this is all there. So it is a big question what you're asking. And if I want to give you uh, a complete answer, it probably have to look like a seminar. So instead, what I'm going to do, there's a book, a very thin book by my spiritual master. It's called Diving Deep. And it talks about the three levels of the institution. And pretty much it's a little survival kit of how to survive the spiritual institution of the Hare Krishna movement. Maybe I can give Sahadev the link. You can put in some group that you have. It's a downloadable PDF. It'll take you like 10 minutes to read, but it's very powerful. Pretty much my spiritual master, he's been in all the ashrams. He's seen all the levels of Krishna consciousness. He was also a disciple of a fallen guru who was a Zonacharya, then reinitiation. Um, he was in Grihastha ashram, Brahmacharya ashram, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa ashram. So he's seen all the different facets of what you could experience as a member of ISKCON. And then he shows how you can survive and attain the supreme goal. I can give a little summary of what he explains. Is that okay? Do we have time? Would you like
Yes.
to hear it?
Yes, probably yes.
Okay. So he puts the institution into three levels. And he describes it like an ocean. So you have on the surface, you have deep in the middle, and then you have the deepest level of the ocean. So on the surface is what's called the institution. You have your buildings, you have your members, you have like the facts and figures, the good, how much we won, how much we lost, books distributed, plates pushed out, the scandals, the fall downs, everything is there on the surface, right? A group of people and some buildings and property like that. It's like a connection to the material energy. So that's all there. And then on the second level, you go down one level. You have the pure process or the pure teachings of Prabhupada. So you have his books, one's applying these principles, and they're in the middle. And then on the deepest level, you have your experience with Krishna. That's the very deepest level, like that. And so on the surface, there could be some tsunami, there could be an oil spill, like some philosophical deviation. What happens then? Can you still survive in this moment? Yes. If you're deeper, nothing affects you. Like if you're deep in the ocean, whatever oil spill, tsunami, there's no effect to you. So the Kanista Adhikaris, they're on the surface, they're always caught up in the scandals and things like that. They get very affected by the ups and downs of the institution. They're the ones that are more likely to sort of leave. But if you're already absorbed in Prabhupada's books and applying the process, even though you see these things happening, it doesn't affect you as much and you have great faith in Prabhupada. And then everyone experiences this. This is why we join the movement and stay in the movement. So you have that experience with Krishna. Krishna's in your life. Krishna reciprocated with you. And that's the deeper soul. So that's where the Uttamadhikaris, they sort of just stay there all the time, just experiencing Krishna all the time. So the Kanista is on the surface, the Madhyam's in the middle, just dealing with the process mainly. And then the Uttama is on the bottom. But everyone in the institution does experience Krishna in their life, the deeper levels of our movement. So in order to survive, one should always try to dive deeper into Krishna consciousness. Either uh, if something's happening on the surface level due to the material energy, then one should just connect to the books again, connect to the Bhagavatam. Open the Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam will set you free, will comfort you, will nourish you. And then when applying that with great faith, then one experiences Krishna in their life, and then nothing can touch you. So some people like to criticize ISKCON, but you probably won't find a better spiritual institution than ISKCON, because we have such easy access to experiencing Krishna in a pure process. So I hope I covered your question in some way.
Yes, Prabhu. But I still have a follow-up question. But I don't know
Okay,
if you permit
I
me.
don't know.
You may go ahead, and I didn't.
Okay. So, Prabhu,
I'll
thank
make this
you
the last
for.
one because actually I have a class that's happening after this. So
Okay.
Oh, then start
yeah.
the Prabhu. Maybe someone else will carry on the floor.
No,
Oh
you
no,
go
you
ahead.
cannot.
Oh,
Go
okay,
ahead.
okay.
You're
Yeah.
the last one.
So, Prabhu, thank you very much for the answer. So, Prabhu, I fall in the category of third generation, and they say experience is the best teacher. So, looking at the situation, what advice will you give me if my spiritual master
Yeah.
now?
And I didn't.
Because when I
Hold on, and I didn't. You were cutting off. So if you may
Okay,
continue starting
I got
from.
it.
Okay,
Yes, I got as far as like
my spiritual master.
your spiritual
okay,
master.
am I audible enough now?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
My
Hare
question
Krishna.
was, look at the situation.
Okay.
If my spiritual master should advise me that I should give up my material activities, we are in the fifth generation after Prabhupada, after yes. So what could be the advice looking at the experiences that some of
Okay,
us
they
have
cut it.
seen and we are still seeing? What
Okay,
could be
I'm
the
sorry.
advice?
I'm sorry, you cut out during your question. So
Um,
what if
uh,
your
Anadinana
spiritual
Prabhu,
master?
I think your question cannot be answered satisfactorily by anyone, especially because it's a public forum, and this particular individual you put in the question to does not know you as a person, does not know your material circumstances, does not know your guru. So asking a question, if your guru asked you to renounce all your material life to move to the temple, what should you do? I think it's going to be difficult for any individual to give you an objective answer. That might be something to consider with your guru and maybe someone else who knows you personally. I don't know. Harinamananda Prabhu, maybe you have something else to share with him. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so I think that was also a good point that every case is individual and you can't give like a whole policy on everything. as well. That's also a good case. So that's why I mentioned about this 3 levels of institution. At least you need to survive spiritually. So if institutionally it's difficult, then you need to make means where you can survive. Because you can only control your individual sphere like that. So we can't control what the institution's going through.
Well, thank you, Prabhuji. You said you have another assignment to attend to. But before you leave, when Anadidanam asked his question the first time, the first question in which you answered so beautifully, talking about your Gurudev's small booklet that deals with this type of question, I was thinking of my Gurudev, who said, Bhakti Swami Maharaj, who said, in reality, nobody can make anyone leave the movement or not become Krishna conscious. It is we, the individuals. If I leave the movement, it is not because of somebody said this or said that. It's simply because I just wanted to leave the movement. But I was also thinking that there are 3 levels, just like your guru said. And my understanding and my approach is not exactly as your Gurudev's description. Of course, I haven't read, but my understanding is that there are those who live in the temple, under the temple roof. They are devotees. They have rules, principles they follow. Then there is another class of devotees who follow all the rules and regulative principles, but they do not live under the temple roof. And then there are those who are friends and well-wishers of the movement. They may follow the rules, they may not follow the rules, but they're still part of the movement. And all of them are part of the movement. Movement means you are moving. So they're all doing something to make the organization spread and be known and be appreciated. So if one thinks that because I belong to this group, that person does not belong to this group, that person is not part of the movement, then we may not be having a very good understanding. We have, even during Prabhupada's time, George Harrison, Srila Prabhupada did not initiate him. And he was living outside, he was doing his music, and Srila Prabhupada never stopped him from doing his music. So this is my view, that somebody may live in the temple and due to maybe some circumstances, he feels he no more fits living in the temple. And then you leave the temple, does not mean that you abandon the rules and then the principles, especially if you've taken initiation. So Prabhuji, if you have something to share in regards to what I just shared, otherwise we may bring this to a close so you may be able to go attend to your other engagement. But thank you so much.
I think you've covered it nicely. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for giving us this insightful understanding of Krishna consciousness as revealed in Srila Prabhupada's papers.
Yes. So I've given the PDF to Giridhari Puja. Okay. So hopefully she can share on some group that you have so everyone can have a read. I really highly recommend it for every devotee in our movement. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And with that being said, dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace, Harinamananda Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpa tarabhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava vrinda ki jai. All glories to His Grace Harinamananda Prabhu ki jai. All glories to Jagat Guru Param Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. And all glories to Samud Vaishnava Vaishnavi devotees ki jai. Hare Krishna.